أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة المتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. My believing brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, all our dear viewers, and to those who are you Muslims, may I say Yahdikumullah, may God's guidance be with you and all of us. Welcome, Ahlan wa Sahlan, to our weekly Masjid Al Wali Chai Chat. And as you're aware that this is a program catered specifically for the next generation, preparing them for their life, for high school, for college, and their career. And at the same time to make them more aware of their Islamic responsibilities. So today I have with me Faisal Mansouri, who is not a stranger to our community. First of all, Faisal, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you to Masjid Al Wali Chai Chat.
Assalamu alaikum.
And as we have it's a very relaxed discussion, inshallah. So you'll be sipping your chai and we'll be talking Islam, inshallah. So Faisal he did his undergraduate and master's program at Stevens Institute of Technology, and currently he is in the field of information system, which is IT. Faisal actually began his Islamic work as an MCNJ Sunday school volunteer since he was in high school. He used to volunteer at Ford's Masjid. Then he became an active YM member, where he became the YM Woodbridge coordinator. And his responsibilities were like delegating, leading weekly study circles, mentoring youths, organizing events at ICNA, conventions. And he has been an active member of his college's Muslim Student Association, MSA. And many times he would deliver, khutbahs and stuff like that. He was also an assistant teacher at Masjid Al Wali Sunday School. Now he mentors college graduates and young professionals navigating the corporate setting. So I think I have the right person here tonight to talk us through with some of our young folks, high school, college kids, getting them prepared mentally, physically, and spiritually into this responsibility. So Faisal, as you're aware, this program basically is to cater for the next generation, helping them through this process. So first of all, let me ask you, as a young man, and of course he's married and he's living with his wife in Addison, mashallah. And also he is a member of our community at Masjid Al Wali. So Faisal, now that you are in the workforce and you have gone through some experiences, really through college, working with young people and stuff, what were some of your struggles really as a young man growing up through high school, college, and stuff like that?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So struggles growing up, I feel like there can be very relatable to a lot of the youth today. It all ties in with, I think, friendship and who are your friends, who do you keep company with. And by having the right group, we can really foster, a healthy Islamic, you can say, like a healthy like Muslim identity. Like you can't do it alone. I couldn't do it alone. I didn't do it alone. I had a lot of help, alhamdulillah. And I think the youth today can also get that help. And not to go too far into the conversation just yet, but I could just say that MCNJ Sunday School, MCNJ is a little older of a community than Al Wali at Edison, right? But this this community at MCNJ, they learned quickly that, hey, we have these early high schoolers who are going to graduate our Sunday school, and then they're off, right? They didn't really have anything post Sunday school, freshman year, high school graduation. And then my year, they decided, you know what? We taught these kids for so many years, right? I've been doing that since middle school, but so many kids have been doing it since elementary school. How do we keep them, and how do we help them foster their Islam in the very important time of their life, right? You're talking about struggles. I think the hardest struggles are definitely in high school, right? So how did MCNJ do it? They said, okay, now that you've graduated Sunday school, it is time for you to give back to the community, giving us responsibilities, making us volunteers. Now, as a young person, I was like, I'm done. I graduated. I don't want to do anything. But then they said a key word, right? A key word, especially youth in Central Jersey, I think will appreciate, was that we'll give you volunteer hours for college. And that was like bingo, right? And I want to start by saying, for many, I don't know if the intention was always pure in the beginning. And, this is, I think, a life lesson, right? We have someone who can be doing Islamic work from the very beginning with the purest intention for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we can have someone on the completely other side of the spectrum who is doing it only for the worldly gain, right? But I think most people, and you can correct me, Imam, but most people are somewhere in the middle of that. They want to do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but like they do need a little bit of a push, especially youth, right? How distracted we can get, not by our own fault. I believe, I think society as a whole is really hounding down on the youth. So how can the masjid, how can we help? You talked about, and I know I'm rambling a little bit, but I know you talked about the struggles, right? The struggles with and my answer to that was to keep good company. And if the masjid can facilitate that, like how MCNJ facilitated that for us, we could really, win that battle.
The question also, I mean, as a follow-up on that, I mean, you have gone through the experience, and what would you say to the young people who now navigating through high school, heading towards college, thinking to their career? It's like, what are some of the obstacles there that they will find that they would have to get over those obstacles? What are those obstacles?
I feel like each stage of life, whether you're in high school, whether you're in college, whether you're in corporate life, post grad, there's different stages, right? I want to say in high school, you are, I know with the pandemic it's a little different, but 8 hours with the same group of people, you believe like this is your whole life is with these, 7-8 hours with your classmates. And then soon you'll realize, as soon as you go to college, you might not talk to more than half of them, right? So who you keep as friends in high school is super important. And I know it seems and sounds cliche, but if I was talking to myself, who like if I was a high schooler and I was talking to myself as a high schooler, I would say that, okay, you have your friends, and I know you're very stubborn in changing your friends, but at least whatever Islamic volunteering opportunities are out there, that at least do that, And I guess this is a two take, right? This is for the masjid as well. We can start creating and fostering opportunities for the youth. So for high school, it's definitely keeping your friends. Challenges in college, I mean, the friends will never change, right? Always, even in college, stick with the MSAs, stick with stick with anything that you think can help you build a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I know fraternities are big in college, sororities as well. Why do people join these? They want to build connections. They want to help themselves make friends, right? When you join college, there's thousands of kids. You join a fraternity, they can help you. You know, they'll help you navigate. It's like a tight knit group, help you with school. MSA could do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
It's really that doesn't change. Having good friends doesn't. It always helps, right? Corporate as well. Not to jump the gun, but in corporate, when I first joined, all the Muslims would pray Salah separately, and like they give us a little closet, right? So we prayed Salah separately. Then brother Humayun from Y Islam, he's a big volunteer, alhamdulillah, at Y Islam. He was working there at the time, and he told me, he's like, why don't we pray together? So we went in the hallway in the back and we prayed together. And then I noticed there were some other Muslims. And then slowly but surely, you'll find people who didn't pray before or who were nervous to pray, just because they formed that group, right? They were like, oh, you guys are praying, I'll pray with you. You guys are going to Jummah, I'll go to Jummah with you. You know? So the obstacles never go away. But
Yeah.
the friendships is really important.
So basically, being there, I mean, you can create an influence, right? Yeah, at the beginning, it might be a challenge really to to navigate around and to have those friends that would help you. So the bottom line here is your association, the type of people that you're associating yourself with, who would remind you of goodness and good action, and that influence can able to move on to different levels. For example, that you have mentioned, by praying, other people join. And look, the thing is that not every person you would expect 100% out of everyone. Every one of us, we try to better ourselves, and this is the human capacity where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us that ability that we can grow. It's not like we're going to be there 100%, as soon as we enter college. We will struggle in different ways. So the struggle is to make sure you're around the right people, having the right type of conversation, and then slowly but surely other Islamic habits and etiquettes would fall into place, as long the intention. And this is what is important, as we have pointed out at the beginning, that you may not necessarily start with the right intention, but our intention can always be modified. That, okay, I'm here for the cause of Allah. And I did emphasize this point before on previous programs, that whether it's you're an IT professional, or or you have a different major, major in medicine, or whatever your major will be, that major should be an opportunity to help that person to attain their akhirah easily. And so a lot of times, sometimes we try to figure out, hey, I mean, being in IT business, is this Islamic? Of course, every sciences that Muslims can benefit from, it's considered to be beneficial knowledge. As long that knowledge is beneficial, is Islamic knowledge, basically, that people can benefit from. And then the people who have reached that level, they have to figure out how they can use that career. How can you use your career as an IT specialist, and a person, to make that work for your akhirah, right? It's not only working for livelihood in this dunya, right? And that's where it comes, like balancing between the dunya and the akhirah. How are we going to be able to balance this between this dunya and the akhirah, and at the same time able to maintain an Islamic identity? So how would you advise the youngsters, because you went through that experience, how would you advise them to maintain that Islamic identity, and at the same time strike a balance between the deen and dunya?
Right. You hit the nail on the head when you said that we shouldn't expect the youth to be perfect right away. I can give you a couple examples, and I will give as many examples as the people want. But we could start by saying that Edison High School, one of my friends who was part of the Edison High School MSA, he said that every week pre-pandemic, or bi-weekly, right? They used to have a meetings with pizza, right? They would give the students pizza, and he said that some kids, they would come last minute, right at the end of the meeting, just to eat the pizza and leave, right? They didn't hear any halakha, they didn't were part of any event, but they were there, like technically, right? They were there for the pizza, but it's okay. He told me that, what if we told those people, don't come back? We know your true intentions, don't come back. You would have lost them. They would have never came back. Who knows, maybe they would have never been part of any Islamic organization in the future, going to be like, oh, they're always strict and they're always angry and they're always mean. Rather, we should go with, okay, you came for the pizza, and then maybe 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks. And then finally, it's like, hey, why don't you want to help us? We got to put the chairs back. Slowly, not like enforcing them to say, hey, give a halakha next week. No, it's more of, can you giving them a little bit of responsibility. Giving youth responsibility empowers them in a way that, you've never seen anything like it. In MCNJ, they let us organize events, right? And I remember we were just standing around. I was in high school and we weren't really helping. We were supposed to organize this event. The event was happening live. We were supposed to give out the food. We were going to do a bunch of things. And then one of the elder brothers, he told us, if you don't do this, there's no one else in charge. You are the ones in charge. If this doesn't get done, then this event's gonna fail. I still remember that because that was such an empowering moment. I was like, oh, wow, there's no uncle or auntie that's going to come and save the day in this event, And I think that's something that, Al Wali moving forward, it's a new masjid relatively to other masjids, right? But as we move forward, giving the youth, empowering the youth with real responsibilities, real events can be really empowering, really enlightening. And they will get their volunteer hours, right? Like you'll get your college hour, you'll get whatever you need for the dunya, but you'll foster that respect. Like who is going to give, even let's say non-Islamic volunteer work, where are you going to get experience leading a halakha or leading like a logistical ICNA event as a high schooler or a young college student? No, there's no way. There's not a lot of opportunities out there to lead a 50,000 people ICNA event, right? But at YM, you get that experience, right? You could put that on your resume, fine, but that experience will, take you to another level, and you can see how you're balancing deen and dunya, right? So it's really empowering the youth with real responsibilities, and then letting them fail. Right? There is no saving them sometimes. Sometimes you just have to let them do their event, do the volunteering, and then they'll learn from that. That's real life, They'll learn from it, do a muhasabah after the event, and say, okay, next time, we'll do it. If we're strict with them, not strict, if we're harsh with them, after they do an event and the event doesn't go well, or they volunteer and they didn't do a good job, then they're just going to run away, right? And we didn't empower anybody.
Absolutely. There's one point that I want to take you back on. When you mentioned about an example of, kids coming up at the MSA or whatever, they show up for the pizza or whatever the case is. As you have pointed out, that we cannot be judgmental on people. This is a very important thing. A person may just come for a pizza the first day. The second day he may come for something else. Then the third day he get inspired of other things, and then eventually that person become what we may call a very serious person in seeking Allah's the knowledge of this deen and becoming more conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It only starts by coming for the pizza, but then afterward it leads to other things. And this shows how we have to be very tolerant, because if we don't show that this tolerance, with others, because look, I think it's very important for us to sit back sometimes and think how long it takes you to be what you are at this point in time, right? It takes you many years to be what you are. And so when you see people, don't judge people, give them a chance to grow and be uh, able to come in and try to work themselves in for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rather than pushing them out. Because when you start pushing them out, then this is a problem. So this is something that all our high schoolers, our college kids, potential college, attendees, have to be able to understand that these are some of the things that will happen. And so you would have to have an open mind getting into high school, into college, into the work arena, right? Basically, because when you finish your college, that would happen also. You cannot judge people even at your job. I mean, you are, as an IT person, you have a lot of responsibility of reaching to other people, and that relationship continues. Excuse me, where you can able to show that kind of Islamic responsibility and the Islamic ethics that is given from your perspective to others.
Absolutely. One thing you mentioned, in the perspective of someone who's not part of any extracurricular volunteering, right, or is not really part of the masjid as a youth, you think, or at least I remember, I believe that those who are part of the masjid, those who are part of the Islamic volunteer world, are judging those who aren't. And then,
Yeah.
so someone who's not part of it feels like those who are part of it are judging. And then honestly, some of those who are part of it are judging, right? So we have to be careful if we are part of, if there's anybody here today who is part of a volunteering in Islamic events or efforts, we have to realize, hey, it's we shouldn't be, and we should be more accepting. I remember hanging out with some of my Muslim friends who weren't part of these things, and they said, Faisal, every time we hang out with you, we feel like you're judging us because we aren't part of the MSA or we aren't part of Sunday school, and it's tough.
Yeah.
We have to be like, no, I'm not. I really, just want to hang out with you guys, and I want to just, be friends, right? And that they could read that, and if they can see that, hey, this person is genuinely trying to be a friend of mine, then
Yeah.
that's just the best way, listening to them, not to lecture them in every turn or error, but just to hear them out, hear what their problems are, and slowly but surely they will join whatever events they want to join.
Yeah. The judgment part is not necessarily only like a verbal communication to the person. Even a person's body language can be judgmental, right? The way you react to someone. And that can be more detrimental than even a word. So you have to be careful about even your body language. We cannot basically judge people. And this is a problem that we have. Those who pray, we judge those who don't pray. Those who are in hijab judge those who are not in hijab. This is not the Islamic ethics. This is not the Islamic value. You cannot judge people. There were people who were praying at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but they were addicted to alcohol, right? And there was a special way that the Prophet alayhi salam, he accommodated people who were even alcoholic, and then they changed their life afterwards, right? Umar radiallahu ta'ala anh, he was ready to correct it immediately, because Umar radiallahu anh, he was always very straightforward, and he say whatever he has to say in a very clear way. But the Prophet alayhi salam, he accommodated such, and that is where we learn the values and the methodology of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam in accommodating people. So it is very, very important that if we are going to the masjid every day, let us don't judge those who don't show up at the masjid. It is very important. And this is also a problem where people who are new Muslims, we even judge those who are new Muslims. And so we kind of, instead of pulling them in, we're pushing them out. And so this, even at college level as young kids, this is something that everyone has to be very cognizant about in order to have this this clear understanding of not judging. It's such an important issue, how we can able to. The other thing I want to, you mentioned about give responsibilities, and don't be afraid for young people to fail. I'm absolutely in agreement with that, because look, not putting the chairs on or the tables or do whatever it is, it's not like the end of the world, right? It's not like, the world will come down on you. They will make mistake. Young people will make mistake. Even older folks make mistake. But um, that's a humanness in us, that we will make mistake. But the thing is that, especially for young people, they would learn, they would fail, they will get it back, and they learn from it. And that's a very, very important point that we need to take into consideration in these situations. So we have a few minutes more. Just finally, what in 1 minute, what will be your final advice to someone who heading into high school or heading into college or even heading into the corporate world? What will be your advice to them?
1 minute. Okay. I think, of course, right. Just let's talk about our talking points. Keeping good friendship, being part of Islamic, doing your Islamic duty. I think I want to end it with two stories. One story, when I was part of the YM, Young Muslims organization, and I'm not just vouching for YM; it could be any Muslim youth organization. I was also part of MCNJ's Sunday school as an assistant teacher. And I was looking for 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds. I'm like, oh, this guy could be, he should join YM, right? And I was looking at the star students who were sitting in the front. And I wasn't paying attention. This is part of the judging, right? Where we're not supposed to judge, but I didn't know any better. I used to tell the ones in the front, the good students, like, you should join YM, right? You should be part of this. I didn't tell the guys in the back. Funny enough, the guys in the back joined YM. Not only did they join YM, they were also future leaders of the same YM Woodbridge that I was, right? And I remember saying, I remember you sitting in the back of Sunday school, and you used to cause me such headache, But now I look at him, I say, wow, you don't know, high school, early college, early career, 10 years from now, you don't know how that person will end up, So be part of, the Islamic volunteerism, be part of, make good Islamic, Muslim friends, and, it will take you a long way. And sorry, last point, my non-Muslim friends ask me for work references because I know so many Muslim friends through YM, through MSA. I'm not joking when I say that professional networking is huge, and I have friends working in all different companies or acquaintances working, and my non-Muslim friends like, hey Faisal, I know you know someone at Google, I know you know someone at Disney. Can you give me a reference, right? Microsoft. And it just goes to show that they're like, how do you have so many friends? How do you know so many people? It's through all these, I want to make sure your intentions are clear. Keep the Islamic, doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your heart, but in your hands, you have your references, you have the volunteer hours, you have all the opportunities for you, So, just goes to show that it goes a long way. I know that was a lot.
No problem. Thanks a lot, Faisal. It was a pleasure having you. But just before I let you go, I have a few questions. I would just want to have a rapid round of questions with you, inshallah. Sure. A little fun thing before we leave, inshallah. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go and why?
I would love to go back to Saudi, Mecca, Medina. That would be nice, just especially during the pandemic.
What's your favorite food?
Love sushi.
Wow, mashallah. What's your hobby? What's your hobby? You have a hobby?
Yeah, I'm getting back into drawing arts. So
really, are you artistic?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not artistic, but I want to be. So I think that
Inshallah. I have to
talent.
follow up that with you, man. I have to follow up that with you, inshallah.
Yeah, no problem.
Are you a morning or a night person?
100% morning.
You're a morning person?
Yeah, yeah. I knock out at like 10.
Wow. You are my first guest who is a morning person. Everybody is a night person. What is your favorite summer activity?
Favorite summer activity? Just playing sports outside. Any sport, really.
Do you have anything in your bucket list?
My bucket list. Yes, I want to be able to read the Quran without translation. The need for translation. So, inshallah,
Good.
working on that.
Inshallah. So Faisal, thank you very much, man. Really appreciate you coming on, and I pray Allah bless you, bless your family, and I will be taking you up on some of these things that we talk about, inshallah. Um, you have to be very much more involved with this community and get things. I have to get you with the youths and get you some areas that where you can really work to get things done, inshallah. Thank you so much, my dear brothers and sisters. Next Friday, before I close, I just want to let you know that I will be having a session with Sheikh Hatim, inshallah, a Q&A, a question and answer with him. So if you can go on our website or on Facebook page and social media and submit your questions, masjidalwali.org/ask Sheikh Hatim, ASKSHK Hatim, HATEM, and submit your questions. Inshallah, we will be answering these questions next week, Friday at 7 p.m. So please try to benefit. Sheikh Hatim is a tremendous resources in our country, especially in the Northeast here, and we want to make sure we make the best use of his ability and his talent, that we all can benefit from him, inshallah. So Faisal, again, thank you very much for coming on to our program, Masjid Al Wali Chai Chat. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you, keep you well, inshallah, and until next Wednesday for another episode of Masjid Al Wali Chai Chat. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.